Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Hashim, and today I will be telling you about symmetry elements and operations. First of all, we have identity. Identity is a symmetry element and it is represented by the letter E. Identity is one of the elements out of 5. Now, this is an operation which brings molecules back to its original orientation. This operation does nothing. It is simplest of all the symmetry elements. Basically what it's trying to say is that when you rotate a molecule around its center of axis, then after a certain number of rotations the molecules return to their original positions. Just like you can see in this figure that 4 molecules have been highlighted by different colors. One is highlighted with green, the other with red, orange and white. If you rotate this molecule about a 90-degree angle, then the green molecule would take the place of the red molecule, the red molecule will go in place of the yellow, and the yellow will go in place of white, and white will take the place of the green molecule. Another rotation will bring the green molecule from its original position to the yellow position. A third rotation will bring it on the white position, and after 4 rotations the green molecule will return to its original position. What I'm trying to say is that after a certain number of rotations the molecules will come back to their original position in such a way that we cannot distinguish between the original molecule and after the rotations. So such molecules are said to possess identity, and almost all the elements operations which is identity is shown by every molecule. In simple words, every molecule shows identity. If you can rotate them after a certain number of times, they will return back to their original position, which is indistinguishable from the original one. So they are said to possess identity. The next symmetry element is the proper rotation, and it is denoted by C. N in the subscript shows that the number of times it has been rotated. It is also called the N rotational axis. If the rotation of a molecule about an axis through some angle results in a configuration which is indistinguishable from the original, then the molecule is said to possess a proper rotation axis. It is denoted by Cn. N is the order of rotation about an axis by an angle of 360 over n. In simple words, it means that if you rotate a molecule about a certain point or axis, then the angle, the theta through which is rotated, will be termed as the angle of rotation or the proper rotation. Its angle will be measured and it will be written as 360 over n. Suppose that a molecule is in a tetrahedral shape and you rotate it through a 90-degree angle. Now the value of n in this situation will be 90. So divide 90 and 360, we will have an answer of 4. So the molecule is said to possess a proper rotation angle of C4, because it has during the rotation 4 molecules move and a total of 360 degrees will be observable. Suppose a molecule like water has a central oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms. The center of symmetry or the axis will pass through the oxygen atom, and when you rotate it, the 2 hydrogens will replace one another through an angle of 180. So the value of n in this case will be 180. So 360 divided by 180 will be 2. So we can say that water molecule has a proper rotation angle of C2. Here you can see example of benzene molecule. We know benzene has 6 carbon atoms and 6 hydrogen atoms with the molecular formula of C6H6. So if we pass a principal axis through the center of benzene and we rotate it, at the same time 6 molecules of the carbon will move, so we can say that it possesses a 6-fold angle, or in simple words, it has a C6 proper rotation. It is observable from the figures that when we pass the principal axis through the center of the benzene molecule and rotate it, 6 molecules of the carbon will rotate and it will move through a angle of about 30 something, so it will have a 66 rotation. In addition to the principal axis, there are some other axes known as subsidiary axis. It is also a proper rotation, but it will have a lower value than the principal axis. As we can see that C6 has the greatest value among these, so C6 will be termed as the principal axis, while there also, in addition to C6, there are some C2 axis which will rotate about 2 molecules. So we can say that it also possesses C2 axis, and C2 axis in this case will be termed as a subsidiary axis. Rotation operation. As I told you before that we were going to study about symmetry elements and operations. I have just discussed about two elements. The number one was identity, and on the number two it was a principal rotation. Now we are going to study an operation. An operation and element will differ in such a way that element will be applied, and when we apply the element with the function it will produce, it will be termed as the operation. So the first operation we will study is rotation. It is just similar to the principal rotation, and it will be equal to rotation of the object through 360 divided by n degrees about an axis. The symmetry element is a line counterclockwise. It means that the rotation will be opposite to the direction in which a clock runs. Counterclockwise rotation is taken as positive. Principal axis is equal to axis with the largest possible n value. Just like I told you in the previous slide that it can have multiple axes, but there will be only one axis which has the highest value, and it will be termed as the principal axis, while all the other axes which have lower value than the principal one will be termed as subsidiary axis. Examples are rotation angle of 60 degree, and the symmetry operation will be C6, just like in the benzene molecule which we studied in the previous slide. 120 degree molecule will produce an operation of C3. 180 in C2. 180, I gave you the example of 180 degree molecule when I told you about the water molecule, in which the center of symmetry will pass through oxygen and two hydrogens will move. 240 degree is equal to C3 times 2. 300 degree will be equal to C6 times 5, and 360 degree will be equal to identity. It means that when you rotate a molecule, I'm talking about the last one, if you rotate a molecule about 360 degree, then it will return to its original position, and it will be indistinguishable from the original position, so we will say that it has shown identity. You have a few molecules in front of you. First of all, we have Cl3 and H. We can see that it has a tetrahedral structure with hydrogen and 3 chlorine atoms on the four corners of a regular tetrahedron and carbon in the center. Now, this axis will pass through the carbon atom, and it will move about 3 atoms, so we say that it has a C3 rotation. So during the C3 rotation, the molecules will rotate, and the rotation is the operation. In other examples, you can see different types of snowflakes which have corners, and it can also be rotated in the same way. The principal axis may pass through the center, while the subsidiary axis may pass through any other sides. So it will have a principal axis which is termed as C6, and other subsidiary axis which may be C3 or C2. Now, we have a sort of question that what operations are generated by a C5 axis. It is said that if we rotate a molecule of cyclopentane which has 5 carbon atoms or 5 corners, and we try to rotate it about 5 times, what will happen? So let's see what happens. If we rotate the cyclopentane molecule 1 time, we can see that all the carbon atoms change their positions and move on to the next position. The carbon number 1 atom moves through the position of the second carbon, the second moves to the position of third, the third to the fourth, and fourth to the fifth. This is the C5 rotation which has been done once. Now let's again do this. It means that we again have to perform a C5 rotation, and this will be C5 times twice. We can see that nothing happens except that their positions change again. The first carbon atom, which took the position of the second one, has now taken the position of the third carbon atom. The second one has also moved, the third one and fourth one and fifth one has also moved. We again rotate this molecule, and we can see that the molecules of carbon, which has been labeled by placing a number of top of them, are again moved. And finally, when we move we rotate the C5 molecule of cyclopentane for the fifth time, we get the first carbon atom to its original position where it was supposed to be. Thus we can say that if we rotate a molecule which has a C5 principal axis 5 times, then as a result it will show identity. It means that it will return back to its original position. Here we have an example that identify all of the proper rotational axes in the square planar platinum chloride ion. It is a square planar structure with a 2 negative charge on the coordination sphere, and indicate which is the principal axis. Then show that the following multiplications of symmetry operations are valid. If C4 is multiplied twice, then we will get C4 times 2 is equal to C2, and C4 times 4 is identity. Here is the structure of platinum chloride. We can see that it has a square planar structure, and in this square planar structure the principal axis will pass through the platinum ion. When we rotate the axis along the platinum ion, we can see that the fluorochlorine atoms move, and as a result a C4 principal axis is observed. So we can say that this molecule or this coordination sphere will have a principal axis of C4, but it also possesses some subsidiary axis like C2. When we pass to platinum from another angle, we can see that only 2 chlorine atoms can move or change their place, so we can say that it also possesses C2 axis. So a principal axis of C4 and a subsidiary axis of C2 are present. How much C2 are present? We can say that 4 C2 axes are present. Now, the second part of the question was the C4 times 4 is equal to identity. It is the same as the cyclopentane molecule. If we label the chlorine atoms as A, B, C, and D, and we start to rotate them one by one, then after the fourth rotation, it will come back to its original position and it will be indistinguishable. So we can say that C4 rotation, which has been done 4 times, will result in identity. It will result in a molecule which is indistinguishable from the first one. Opposite and equidistant point. Symmetry element is a plane. Human body has an approximate sigma operation. Before studying this, we have to know that this is the third symmetry element, which is known as the plane of symmetry. It is represented by the letter sigma, and it is of 3 types. Either it will be horizontal or vertical or dihedral. So symmetry element is a plane. Human body has an approximate sigma operation. Linear objects have infinite sigmas. Now, if we recall our previous memory, we know that some of the symmetries are shown in nature are termed as radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry means that it can be only divided in one plane, whilst radial symmetry means that it can be divided in or cut in a lot of planes. So in the first figure, where a plane is dividing a human body, we can see that there is only one plane through which we can obtain a symmetrical balance or a symmetrical operation, and it is a vertical plane. So we can say that a vertical principal axis or vertical plane of symmetry exists in the human body. Then next we have a pencil, then a benzene molecule. Now these are not limited to only a sigma v or vertical plane of symmetry. They will possess a number of symmetries. They can be either either dihedral or vertical or horizontal Same as the case for benzene molecule. Benzene molecule will possess a vertical plane of symmetry from many angles, and it will also possess a dihedral plane of symmetry. This is a continuation of the previous slide. A more rigorous definition of the difference between vertical and dihedral mirror planes is that a vertical mirror plane will contain more atoms than a dihedral one. This is just to clarify the confusion, or it is to distinguish between the vertical and dihedral plane of symmetry. In a dihedral plane of symmetry, we will see that in the two molecules, we can see that there are two methyl groups attached to a cyclohexane molecule in both of the figures. So we can say that a more vigorous definition of the difference between vertical and dihedral mirror planes is that a vertical mirror plane will contain more atoms than a dihedral one. You can see that in the first figure, the plane which cuts the the molecule does not pass through any molecule, but rather it passes through the bonds. But in the second figure, we can see that the plane which is dividing the plane of symmetry, which is dividing the molecule, passes through the two carbon atoms. Now, in the above definition, we read that a vertical mirror plane will contain more atoms. So, the second figure shows a vertical mirror plane, and the first figure shows a dihedral mirror plane. The dihedral mirror plane does not pass through any atoms, rather it passes through some bonds, which are covalent bonds between the atoms. While in the vertical plane, it passes through the carbon atoms. So, in the second figure, it cuts through more carbon atoms or more number of atoms, so this will be termed as the vertical plane.